Welcome to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast with Jacob Ayers, providing actionable content to help you along your journey to financial freedom through real estate investing. As the premier asset class, real estate has helped ordinary people just like you amass fortunes. The benefits of passive income from real estate investing will allow you to live a life you want. And now your host, entrepreneur, real estate investor, and apartment deal syndicator, Jacob Ayers.
Hi, and welcome to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast, episode 317. This is Friday Fundamentals, and I'm your host, Jacob Ayers. Welcome back to the show. Hey, I am so glad you're here. I want to start by giving a shout out to a quick 5-star review in iTunes. This review comes from SJB and says, "I love the variety and wealth of information I'm getting from this podcast. Keep up the great work. Thank you." Well, hey, thank you all for leaving those great ratings and reviews. It means so much to the show. I hope I'm continuing to provide great actionable content to you with our weekly guest interviews and these Friday fundamentals. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into this week's Friday fundamental of start with why. Okay, so it's June at the time of this recording. 6 months into the year, 6 months into your New Year's resolutions. I know, I'm not here to harp on you for letting those New Year's resolutions be nothing more than just a distant memory. After all, who could have predicted the things 2020 has brought so far? So if you've slipped up on some of those New Year's resolutions, well, I have news for you. You're not alone. I've had a good handful of things that aren't tracking so well. Some in my control and some out of my control. But if I'm being honest, that's really just an excuse. You see, things change, we change, and maybe who we were and what we wanted 6 months ago are no longer the same as they are today. That's perfectly okay. Now, this can be a bit of a dichotomy in my experience, though. On one hand, you're supposed to set goals, take consistent action, and achieve the outcomes you want. On the other hand, be flexible, adapt to change, and keep your eye on the prize. These two things, while not exactly contradictive, can be hard to marry up sometimes, in my opinion. So my solution to that is to view my own path as one of constant improvement, intentional action, and keeping my focus on that end result. With an engineering mind, this makes perfect sense to me. Make a plan, adapt to changes, find solutions, solve the problem. Simple and straightforward. This approach, though, only addresses the what and the how parts of the equation. The third part, and arguably the most important, is the why. Now, quick caveat here, many of the topics discussed on this show are inspired from materials I'm constantly consuming through audiobooks, podcasts, reading, webinars, all kinds of stuff. This Friday Fundamental is no different and is inspired by the current book I'm reading, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Now, as you might guess, Simon talks about the importance of, starting with why. So many of us set out on our respective journeys with the what and how all figured out, only to lose sight of our why, or worse, never even start with one. So today, I want to dig into finding your why. Your why is your purpose. It's what drives you and motivates you to take action. It's the thing that makes what you do not feel like work. So let's look at a scenario. You've set out to accomplish something. Maybe that's to start a business, buy an investment property, read a book, or whatever it may be. Your typical thought process may look like, first, identifying the what. Typically, the what is the end thing we desire. Next is the how. The how is the vehicle to get us to the what. And finally, the why is the reason behind it all. So let's take buying a rental property as an example. The end goal isn't necessarily the rental property, but rather the passive income it will create. After all, there are other ways or other vehicles to create passive income, like investing in dividend-paying stocks, etc. The passive income is the what part of the equation. It's the desired outcome here. The investment property is the vehicle or the how, but what we've yet to define is our why. Our why is way more important than the how, in this case the rental property, and the what, once again the passive income. Without a strong why, we don't have a reason or motivation to strive for and achieve our biggest goals. It all goes back to starting with our why. You have so much potential within you. The things that you're capable of are limited only by your own imagination. With a strong why, you'll have a sense of purpose to set the bar high and achieve the things you've always dreamed of. So with whatever next challenge you face, start with your why. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Friday Fundamentals. Short and sweet this week, right to the point. I hope that this resonates with you. If you want to learn more about this topic, as I mentioned, Start With Why by Simon Sinek is a great book so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'll link it in the show notes if you want to check it out and learn more about it. And once again, thank you all for those great ratings and reviews you're leaving on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, all of those directories. If you haven't yet, please go over and leave a rating and review. I'd love to give you a shout out in an upcoming episode. As always, for more information, resources, and to connect with me, you can do so at www.jacobayers.com. There, you can even schedule a 15-minute call with me if you'd like to talk about real estate, mindset, or anything else really. So go over and do that. Until next week, engineer the lifestyle you want.
You've been listening to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast, providing you actionable content to build your real estate empire. Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for personal advice. The opinions of guests are their own. Information is not guaranteed. All investment strategies have a potential for profit or loss. The host is operating on behalf of the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom, LLC, exclusively.